What do you think the chances are of a guy like you and a girl like me ending up together?
Well, Lloyd, that's difficult to say, and we really don't...
Hit me with it. Just give it to me straight. I came a long way just to see you married. Just, least you can do is level with me. What are my chances?
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
So, if you can't tell, we're moving into a couple of weeks now on the idea of probability. Yeah! So you're telling me there's a chance. So what's the probability that you're gonna love this week's module on probability? I hope it's a high probability, more than 1 in 1,000,000. So here we are, week 12. Also, week 12 has test number 2 in it, so we have kind of a lot going on this week. However, just so you know, I consciously created the learning experience portion of this week to be a little less, a little shorter than the other modules, so that you can put some time into the test. And the test has a unique spin to it. Let me explain. So the first thing in the module is we're going to make sense of probability. And I hope as you feel this entire semester, we're always going to start with, what does probability mean? If you think back to probably day 1, we were talking about definitions and what things mean. Like, what does perimeter mean? What does area mean? What does volume mean? What does average mean? So I hope that's a theme that you see throughout. And so we're going to just take some time to make sense of probability and think about what it means. So please read all of this carefully, and then there's a video. Please watch the video with your pen and paper in hand, take some notes, and when I ask questions, really engage. Yeah, look at this. Engage in this video. Take notes, answer questions, think. There it is. Now, at the end of this video, I ask you to think about these 9 probability situations and to respond. And so we're going to pause, have you respond, and then a video with me talking through those same 9 things. And so, again, the best option is for you to really spend some time thinking through these things, thinking back to the previous video and what probability means, and really working to develop your understanding of probability. But then hopefully my explanations will help. And then a little quiz about probability. And I think that is it. Yeah, that's it, because I'm going to work you hard on the test this week. You'll see. Let me get to that in a second. But an R&R, again, about probability. And I chose this article because just over the many years of doing this job, sometimes people say, but I just want to teach K1, 2. And by the way, I don't think you should say I just want to teach, because K1, 2 are the most important years to lay a solid foundation. I'm talking mathematically, but everything, a solid foundation of mathematics happens at K1, 2. So it is of utmost importance that those foundations are solidly put into place. Think about Lai Ping Ma, a profound understanding of fundamental mathematics, and it begins early on. So in this article, it's the idea of probability, but how does it show up? How do we start having kids think about probability K through 5? So that's why I chose that to hopefully highlight. This article will supplement the work that you're doing in this module and subsequent modules, because we're going to stay with probability kind of through the rest of the semester, which is only a couple more weeks, but the rest of the semester they focus on probability. All right, so please do your normal, good, excellent work on your R&R. And then, yeah, test 2. Test 2 has 2 parts, because it's test 2. It has to have 2 parts. Test 1 had 1 part. Test 2 has 2 parts. Will test 3 have 3 parts? You'll have to wait and see. But the goal here is this. You guys, I am a little bit on the stubborn side. And my stubborn side says this, especially in this online world that we find ourselves. My stubborn side says, I know, I have seen, experienced, and researched the value that collaboration has in the learning process. And that collaboration is just so much more challenging in this online environment. And it's some things have been better, some things have been worse, but I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna persevere, and I'm gonna ask you to collaborate. So this test has two parts. Part 1 is collaborative. So 20 of your 50 points will come from this collaborative experience. I'll show you where all this happens, but you're gonna work with your group to engage in a data analysis situation that can be found here. You can click on the link when you get there. To view your group, go to the people link. Let me show you. So over here on your side, I don't know, you probably don't have as much as me because I've got all these hidden things. But for you, there should be a people link. And if you look in your people link, you did have a study group team, but this time I want you to go to your test 2 part 1 team. And so you'll see the teams here. Find your team. And when you go into, let me see, I think I have to go here to visit. Now you'll just, of course, see your team. I see them all. But when you go in here, I've made a discussion area for you. And in this discussion area, here it is, test 2, group number 1. In this discussion area, I've started the process by giving you a link to a Google Doc. So what I would like you to do is find your group, find this discussion, find this Google Doc. And that's where you're going to collaborate together. I'm guessing at this stage, you've probably all used Google Docs. But if not, here's what happens. When you click on this link, it'll open up, kind of looks like a Word document or a word processing document. But the cool thing about Google Docs is multiple people can collaborate on that document at the same time, and Google will just keep updating, saving, updating, saving, updating, saving, and I can go in and see the work that you're doing. So you will collaborate, and ultimately the team will get a nice, neat, professional response to this data analysis situation for part 1 of the test. All right, let me go back to the module. Where is it? Test 2. All right, so here's where we were. Test 2 instructions. Did I click it? I thought I did. So yeah, go find your team, find your Google Doc, and get involved. When in this group, the first place, discussion area, the place for you and your group to collaborate. So you can use the discussion area to collaborate, to talk, to plan, to meet, whatever. But also then you have that Google Doc to work around. So use the following link. Well, the link is in that discussion group. So here's some stuff about Google Doc that you will see. But when you're done, or when the deadline is over for this test, I will just download that Google Doc for myself for grading. All right, then part 2. Part 2 will be like you did last time. It'll be a Canvas quiz where you will download the document, write your responses, upload the document. And just by the way, I've organized it so that what's happening in the collaborative thing is not going to be overlapped in the individual thing. I've tried to separate so that it's not like 2 very long things to do. The individual part is a little shorter because I don't have to assess all the things because some of it's being done in the collaborative part. But in the individual part, just to remind you, where did I write it? Somewhere I wrote test 2 is modules like 5 through 11. So that does go back to the end of our module 6 through 11. This does go back to the end of our stuff on geometry. If you think back to geometry, we were doing volume, converting units, and so we're going to go back to that geometry, angle measure. What is an angle? How do you measure one? Degrees, radians, etc. So module 6 through 11 is your focus. That has a little bit of the end of geometry and then the beginning of data analysis. The data analysis part, a lot of it is going to be taken care of in the collaborative part, The individual part's going to have a little bit more of the geometry, but also has some stuff about average. Remember, what does average mean? If you equally distribute, the discussion question you just did, if you equally distribute, all that kind of stuff. So 6 through 11 is my point there. All right, so you'll do the individual part. Yeah, in that instruction there was a link, but it's also right here. So I've given you some data. I know I'm just giving you the test here, but this is data that I collected back in 2018, 2017 from this class. Back when we were meeting in the classroom, students were still submitting discussion questions. And so for this class, I collected the number of minutes before midnight that the assignment was due that students posted. So 22 minutes before midnight, 57 minutes before midnight, or 6,164 minutes before midnight. You know, somebody posted it way early and somebody else posted it just right near the deadline. Well, compare that to the year before. Same kind of situation. Well, discussion 2, discussion 3. And these students posted 14 minutes, 16 minutes, 24 minutes before the deadline, etc. So there's your data. And then what you're going to do is in your Google Doc, showcase all the things that we've been learning. 5-number summary, box plots, outliers, mean, MAD, standard deviation. As you do that, there are some tools here that you can use. I'm not asking you to necessarily do the gory details of computations. The beautiful thing about the year 2020, if there is anything, and this time period that we're in, is that we have technology. So there's a place you can go to create a box plot. There's a place that you can go to get your MAD computed for you. You just have to copy, paste the data, and dump it into these tools, and it will compute. What I want you to focus on, because this is more real life, especially for educators, you're going to have the data. You're going to have all of the statistics that already computed. The important thing is, how do you interpret them? So you're going to get all the, like I say here, initial analysis, but then you're going to explain what it all means. So part of this thing is not just to dump it in there, but to explain what it means. And then in part 2, most recently, you've been studying normal distribution, the bell curve. And so I want you to answer these 4 questions. Same data about this Canvas discussion question submission times, but I want you to approach it from a normal distribution perspective like you did in this recent module. And then again, here's that link to that same online normal distribution calculator that you should have used this last week in module 11. So you will work on this thing collaboratively. Now, when I say collaboratively, it doesn't always mean you're working at the same time. With a Google Doc, somebody can add some stuff, somebody else can chime in, somebody else can do later, or you can get together and meet at the same time and meet. It's up to you how it works out. Now, while all of that is going on, or maybe you want to organize your life in such a way that you get all that done, but then is the... So I just remembered, in my original instructions, I said I would download, which I still can, but I did also include a place for you to upload. So when you're done with your Google Doc, you can save it as a PDF and then upload it here for your team. So since I've already said it, I'm not going to redo the video. Hopefully it all works out. You can get it uploaded here, but if not, I'll go find your Google Doc. All right, then is the individual test. So it's a Canvas quiz. I'll just kind of show you how it looks. Kind of like last time, except you have the honor code. So the expectation is that you're doing this by yourself. It says this is not collaborative. This is by yourself. So you click to acknowledge, and then here's the test. The test will be available, blah, blah, blah. The test is here. If you can, download it, write on it, upload it back as a PDF, or write on a piece of paper, upload the PDF in this spot here. So 30 points for that. All right, so yeah, my thinking is you'll work on Module 12 probability, and then starting Thursday morning, this test will be available to you. Let me back up. Oh, I got to get out of preview. Did I already get out of preview? There it is. What did I do for this one? The collaborative piece is due, oh man. Okay, the collaborative piece, I guess both pieces, I made open November 12th at 9 a.m. and due Sunday night. So that gives you up to Thursday morning to get module 12 done, and then that gives you some days to work on both parts of the test. All right, that's the week. Please engage early, engage often, and just stay in touch.